I'm Mike.
And this is Matthew.
This week, there's just been enough DC news and information getting thrown around. I thought we could, rather than just doing it as a segment on another episode, let's just do a whole episode and kind of do some housekeeping. Because we've had episodes coming out the last 3 weeks, but we've kind of been taking a break just because of the holidays and everything. So let's just get into a bunch of this stuff.
I think so. Yes, as much as some of it we're not even wanting to talk about.
Yeah.
We are doing a Batman / DC podcast. We kind of have to address some of these issues or these news bits, even if we're pretty sure it's a bunch of hoo-ha crap.
Yeah.
But let's go through it. Let's put a smile on our face, and we can either at the end and it either clears up. We can say "I told you so," or we can go, "Well, crap, that was right." So we'll be fine.
All right. I'm going to save one of these smaller stories to actually do last so we can end on a positive note.
Perfect.
But so our first little small story, it's kind of bad news. It's kind of not. Over the other day, we had the People's Choice Awards for Best Movie of 2022. The Batman was nominated, but was actually beaten out by Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Now, I want to be clear. I love Doctor Strange 2. Love it. I love this movie. It is not better than the Batman.
I agree. I thought Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness was fun. I had a good time watching it the first time. The second time I watched it, I was like, this is a fun Sam Raimi movie. I don't know if it's a Doctor Strange movie, but it's fine. The Illuminati thing I hated, but other than that, I had a lot of fun with it. But I don't think it's better than the Batman in any way, shape, or form. But I will say this, and this is where I think it kind of goes, is that there's a lot of people I know that did not like that movie at all.
Did not like Doctor Strange or the Batman?
No, the Batman. That didn't like
weird.
it at all.
They
thought it was boring.
That's strange to me.
It was boring. Yeah,
that.
I know. But like of the friend of the show, Robert Haley, he's one of those guys who he's like, it was okay. And I think what it really boils down to is that that quote unquote fourth act really kills it for a lot of people. So if you got what is it? Sheeple? The sheeple want to have fun and not be bored, and maybe that's what it is. I have no idea because I don't even know who they ask the People Choice Awards for. I didn't even know they were happening.
So listen, here's the list of the best movie of 2022. Listen to this list: Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, The Batman, Top Gun Maverick, Bullet Train, Elvis, Nope, Thor: Love and Thunder, and you're not ready for what the last movie on this list is. You're not ready.
Go.
Jurassic World Dominion.
That's on the list.
I'm going to say something right now to everybody who may not know this because we don't talk about this on this show. Jurassic World Dominion was one of the worst movies I saw this year.
It wasn't great. No.
It was one of the worst for me. It was one of the worst movies I saw this year. And when you're looking at some of the other movies on this list, you're telling me Jurassic World Dominion belongs alongside these? Like, you're putting it on the same list as Top Gun Maverick? Really? Really?
Yeah, that's a bit weird.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know anything about the People's Choice Awards. I don't know what the selection panel is. They have the Batman on the list of action movie of 2022. I don't consider it that much of an action movie, but the entire last act is one big action sequence, so I kind of get it. Black Adam's on that list too. I mean, that's action for sure. I know. It's really interesting though that I'm really curious actually as to what the selection process on here is. Is it online voting? So
online voting, is there a website we go to and vote? I mean,
so it's determined by the web research company Knowledge Networks. I have never heard of this company in my life. I don't know who they are. I don't trust that as far as I can throw it. So yeah, cool, I guess. But yeah, it is strange because when I'm looking at the nominees of the winners of this year as well, like Elizabeth Olsen won for playing Scarlet Witch in Multiverse of Madness
I'll,
twice.
I'll, I'll, I'll give
She
that. She's
yeah
really good in that movie.
she won for female movie star and for action movie star of so that's and they gave male movie star to Chris Hemsworth for Thor: Love and Thunder. I mean, he's good. He's always good as Thor. But interesting that Robert Pattinson not on that list.
Yeah, like I said, there really is like, in my opinion, I think there is really like this underground, underlining hate for that movie because it was so long and not what people wanted. People wanted your stereotypical action Batman movie, not this noir detective.
Yeah, it wasn't. I told my mom before she went and saw it because I was like, yeah, but just remember, it's not an action movie. It's
Yeah,
not an action movie. It's a slow paced mystery. It's a David Fincher esque neo noir mystery movie with Batman and some cool action sequences, but it's not an action movie.
yeah.
I also think part of what hurts the Batman, and I'm kind of worried about this for award season. It came out in March. It was a long time ago. And I've noticed in award seasons past that the earlier, no matter how good a movie is, the earlier in the year it comes out, the less its chances are because there's other stuff that's more recent in people's minds.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not everybody is
Exactly.
watching The Batman once a week like I am. I love that movie. So I'm not kidding. I watch it once a week. Um, so I, but also again with the People's Choice Awards, I don't know how much clout to give them because like for drama movie of the year, one of the nominees was Halloween Ends. Movie's not good. I mean that movie like was trending for how much people hated it. Again, Jurassic World Dominion is on this list. Okay, um, yeah, I'm not sure it's on this list twice. So I don't hold take this too personally that it didn't win because when I look at the stuff that was even nominated alongside of it, I have some questions.
Yeah. Yeah. That seems kind of odd.
Yeah. So, but again, I really like Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. I loved it. I think that Zoe Gomez, who plays America Chavez in the movie, has a bright future ahead of her. I think she was a very, very good young actress.
Yes.
I think everybody was great. So, I mean, congrats to everybody involved in that. Should have been the Batman, but congrats to everybody involved in that. Um, on some more positive news about the Batman, it did get some award buzz though. So the 2022 Atlanta Film Critics Circle Awards, that's a long name, actually awarded Best Original Score to Michael Giacchino for the Batman
There we go. See?
because that score is incredible.
Yeah.
I feel like anybody who's ever nominated alongside Michael Giacchino has to just go, well, shit.
Yeah. It was a good run. It was a good run.
Well, all right. Well, there's your winner, folks. All right, never mind. Not even going to bother writing a speech.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's cool. And then also, this is cool. Matt Reeves tweeted this out. Michael Giacchino has also been nominated for a Grammy for the Batman for Best Original Film Score.
Nice.
He's been nominated alongside of Jermaine Franco, who did Encanto, which is great. Hans Zimmer, who did No Time to Die. Johnny Greenwood, who did The Power of the Dog, which I have not seen, and Nicholas Brittle, who did the score for the movie Succession. I have not seen the last two movies, um, but I will say I love the Batman score. I love Michael Giacchino going up against Encanto and No Time to Die, which is Hans Zimmer. That could go to any one of those three, honestly.
Yeah. Hard to go against Hans Zimmer.
I know.
But at the same time, who knows? Who knows?
Who knows? But that's great that the movie is continuing to get some recognition. And on top of that, it should be noted too that Matt Reeves, DC, and Warner Brothers have submitted. They have officially submitted the Batman for Academy Award consideration in all categories.
As they should.
as they should. They have submitted it for best film, best actor, best supporting actor, all the categories, that it's able to be, because it can't be in there for like, you know, short documentary, obviously. But yeah,
Yeah.
it can't. All the categories that it's eligible for, it has been submitted for, which I
Nice.
think is I think it's that good. So I'll be curious to see what happens with that. All right, so let's get into this big story here. Full disclosure, folks, before we get into this, first of all, we're
No,
doing
no,
this.
let's just run. Let's no. No.
We're talking about this under duress. I really don't want to give too much attention to this because there are no named sources on this whatsoever, and I don't trust that. This reeks of scoops.
Yeah,
Um,
it
this
does.
reeks of rumor mill bullshit. I have a general rule when talking about big studio stuff like this, which is unless it's coming from the studio heads themselves, I don't pay it a lot of mind. Whenever there's like big rumors about, you know, shakeups and stuff in the MCU camp, for me, unless it's coming from, you know, the head of Disney or Kevin Feige himself, I tend not to pay it a lot of attention. This is in the DC camp, and I'm in the same mind. Unless this is coming from Warner Brothers Discovery or James Gunn himself, I'm not putting a lot of stock in any of this. But enough people are running with this online, and I don't really trust the Hollywood Reporter, but it is a pretty big publication, so we kind of have to talk about this. Um, Hollywood Reporter is running with this story right now that Patty Jenkins' Wonder Woman 3 is not moving forward. DC's hitting a major turning point, and that James Gunn and Peter Safran are kind of doing a clean slate type thing. Um, I'm not sure how I feel about any of this. I'm really not. I'm going to be honest with you, Matt. What about you?
Sure. I mean, it's it's kind of going along with what I've been kind of preaching the past month and a half about what is going on with Warner Brothers. Is like, you know, look, rewind it back 8 episodes. I said if Black Adam doesn't work, it completely changes the landscape of the DCFU. Black Adam didn't work. It's not going to be profitable. It's not going to be a big movie. It's at this point, it hasn't made any money. So
Yeah, as of the time
I,
we're recording this, as of right now, it has turned in 385 million at the box office. Its budget was estimated somewhere between 195 and 230 million. It needs to make over 400 million dollars to turn a profit, and it hasn't done that yet. And it's been out for over a month.
that was like
Actually, it's
six
been
weeks,
out for
maybe
over,
two.
it came out October 21st. It's going on 2 months. It's been in
Mm,
theaters.
yeah.
Wow, it does not feel like that long ago. I feel like I just saw it. In 2 months, it has not made its money back. Um, so yeah, it's not, and it also was not like the huge critical success they were hoping for. Fans and critics were kind of mixed on it. We famously, neither of us really liked it. Other people, I have a lot of friends who loved it. And I can understand why they did. But it's kind of a mixed bag of a movie.
Yeah.
So it wasn't the showstopper they were hoping it was gonna be. So yeah, it does make sense. And also, again, you've got two new studio heads coming in, James Gunn and Peter Safran. So it makes sense they're gonna want to kind of say, hey guys, we're running the ship now. Here's how the ship's gonna run.
Yeah.
Wonder Woman 3 being DOA makes sense because Wonder Woman 84 was a big failure. Like it was a big swing
I
and a miss.
I hadn't didn't even know there was going to be a Wonder Woman 3.
Oh
I
yeah,
had not heard
they
that at
they
all.
similar to with the first one, they greenlit that like right away. Um,
Hmm.
but that didn't pan out, obviously, because Wonder Woman, because of the pandemic. The pandemic kind of forced their hand on it, and also just it just wasn't a good movie. So them saying that, but from the original rumors had been that like they were still going to go ahead with Wonder Woman 3, um, and that Patty Jenkins was going to have a bit more autonomy with it, or a little less autonomy, I should say, because with the first one, they let her do her own thing to an extent. With the second one, because the first Wonder Woman was so good and was such a resounding success, they kind of just let her off leash for the second one, and I think that's kind of part of the problem, was she didn't have a whole lot of oversight. They just kind of let her do her own thing. So that part I can totally understand them saying, "Hey, we're gonna pause on this." The idea that a Black Adam sequel might not be happening makes all the sense in the world, because Black Adam was not a success. The two pieces of news that are the ones that have me saying this is probably a load of bullshit are that the Man of Steel sequel is now not happening, and that Jason Momoa is moving over from being Aquaman and now going to be Lobo. Neither of those
Yeah.
make a lick of sense to me. That is, they just put into all this effort into announcing, into having Cavill be in Black Adam 2, going ahead with the announcement that he was back, that they were moving ahead with Man of Steel 2. Um, you don't just make those announcements and then pull back on them all of a sudden. Like, that was something that had to have been discussed for months upon months. That was not a knee jerk decision that you make. You don't do that. Um, and because also to pull back on it like that would eliminate any goodwill you've you've garnered since then. And then Momoa moving over to being Lobo makes no sense, because for crying out loud, Aquaman made $1 billion and you've got the sequel about to come out.
Yeah, I think that the thing, like, I don't want to beat this dead horse, but everything they were doing the early part and middle of this year made me think, like, if Black Adam doesn't work, they're going to scrap it. So this, if all of this is true, that's what it leans in. James Gunn's coming in. He's like, look, let's actually turn this crap around. And I mean, it does seem ridiculous. You know, you have a sequel for Aquaman coming up. Why would you then scrap everything of the, that is one of the DCFU movies that has been super profitable for him. It's the one that broke 1 billion.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't know. Like, this is where you go into, like, is it the Amber Heard thing? Then that means that the Ezra Miller thing is going to kill Flash. I'm not lying, dude. This just makes me think we're gonna scrap it. They're gonna scrap everything,
I guess that,
and
that I guess my thought on that is, if you're gonna start over from square one, then scrap everything. Don't
yeah,
pick and choose if they're gonna if they're really and truly gonna say this is the James Gunn show, we're getting a fresh start, then they would just clean slate everything. This still feels like they're picking and choosing, and it's like, no, if you're gonna do it, you're gonna do it.
yeah.
If you're gonna start over, then you're gonna start over. Picking and choosing makes no sense to me. Having Momoa switch characters is makes no sense to me. And I'm sorry, James Gunn's smarter than that.
Well,
James Gunn is smarter than that.
but this is also, if you're clean slating it, this explains why Cavill has come out and said he doesn't have a contract. That's the rumor I've heard.
See, I haven't heard anything about Cavill's contract and all that.
So,
Um,
but
that's
I
that's
mean,
that's a good one. Yeah,
it's to me, it really, like, I I go back and forth on it. Like, I think I've been pretty vocal about how much I have not liked most of what the DCFU has done, but at the same time, I don't want to miss Peacemaker season 2. You
yeah.
know how? So yeah, you're right. Like, are we going to pick and choose? Or are we going to clean slate? But at the same time, like, hey, if they make Momoa look different enough as Lobo, sure, why not?
Well, and the other reason I don't buy into that is because like Momoa as Lobo is one of those like Photoshop fan art things that goes viral on Instagram, and someone writes an article like BuzzFeed does an article like check out this
Yeah.
picture of Jason Momoa. Like we see those every day. Every day there's a new one. Check out this picture of Willem Dafoe as the Joker. It's like, yeah, like that's what has me going. This sounds like a load of crap, is because it's like I've seen people talking about Momoa being Lobo for years because of how he looks, because somebody made some picture for DeviantArt. Like
Well,
I
and
I
he's
don't,
talked
I don't
about it.
buy this. Yeah,
He
I
talked
I
about
just
like
don't buy
when
it.
yeah, when they first called him, he thought they were calling him to be Lobo. So when they were like, "No, we want you to be Aquaman," he was like, "Really? Okay, I thought I was here to be Lobo. Sure, let's be Aquaman."
Yeah,
I don't know. Like again, this is like you said earlier. If it's not Warner Brothers or James Gunn coming out and saying this is what we're doing, it's all rumors. Unfortunately, when it comes to the Hollywood Reporter, they got a pretty good batting average that I'm leaning into some of this may be true. You know what
yeah,
I mean? But it's yeah, I don't know. And this is also like as much as James Gunn is heading up this DC Studios, it doesn't mean he has carte blanche to do whatever the hell he wants. That
yeah.
means that Warner Brothers says, "Hey, go do this, make it work."
Yeah, because like even Kevin Feige ultimately has to answer to Bob Iger, who's now back in charge over at Disney. Um,
Yes.
like yeah, they kind of let him do his own thing, but ultimately DC has the power, or Disney has the power to veto anything Kevin Feige does. Yes, DC Studios now there is now a DC Studios with a studio head in James Gunn, but and he does kind of have a lot of power, but Warner, I considering the choices Warner Brothers has made, the two just don't add up. That he would come in and just unilaterally make these changes, and Warner Brothers says like, yeah, okay, or vice versa. There's
Yeah.
too many. There are things about this rumor that make sense, and maybe those ones will ring some semblance of true. But the Man of Steel 2, Cavill being out, and Momoa being Lobo thing are the parts of this that make me go, this smells like bullshit. And in response to the Cavill contract thing, so I looked that up while you were talking. Um, so that rumor got started back when Black Adam came out.
Ah,
The
okay.
the heads at DC have already debunked that.
Okay. There you go.
Yeah,
Good.
they have already debunked the idea that there's no formal paperwork or whatever in place with Cavill as Superman. Like that has been James Gunn and the DC heads have already said no. They're like nothing's finalized with the movie yet, because like all they've said is they're planning on doing it. There's no script in hand yet, but as far as him being Superman, like he's still Superman. They just haven't put pen to paper with the movie yet.
Yeah. There's not a
So
contract for the he is up for Superman, but there's not a contract for what the
yeah.
movie's going to be.
But what they have for him in writing as of now is more appearances. Like he's still like, as far as DC's contract for the character of Superman, it's still Henry Cavill.
Yeah.
There's just no there's the movie itself is basically in like, it's not even in pre-production. It's we're gonna make a Man of Steel 2. We have nothing else done yet.
Yeah.
That is as far, all we have is the idea.
We don't
Um,
know what that means.
right. But they would not go so far as to make official announcements and let Henry Cavill make official announcements if they were then going to turn around in about face and say, "Never mind, you're out."
Yeah.
There's, I absolutely do not believe that at all. Especially again, all of this is coming from quote unquote sources. That is all the Hollywood Reporter has said, is that sources indicate, and multiple sources tell, yeah, are these the same sources that were telling Umberto Gonzalez that Green Lantern was in Batman v Superman at 1 hour and 27 minutes into the movie? That is an exact quote, by the way. He was on Collider Heroes and said, I got sources that tell me that Green Lantern shows up in Batman v Superman 1 hour and 27 minutes into it. Yeah, that wasn't true.
Yeah. Well, and the thing now, does the article say that Cavill's out as Superman, or does it just
No.
say there is no Superman 2?
No. So the article is almost entirely about Wonder Woman 3. It's almost
Okay.
entirely about Wonder Woman 3. All the article says about the other stuff is that hang on, let me find the exact quote here so I can read it for you. This is this sees the shutting down of Man of Steel 2 with a returning Henry Cavill and having no more Aquaman fronted by Jason Momoa. So I honestly don't know where the Lobo stuff is coming from. That's the part I
Gotcha.
can't figure out is where's this Lobo thing coming from? Oh, here it is right here. So uh something. They're talking about putting stuff with Lobo and having Momoa play it. That reeks of bullshit. But yeah, all it mentions with Superman is that like, oh, we're shutting down Man of Steel 2. There's nothing to shut down. Like
Yeah,
nothing's been
yeah.
done yet. There's nothing to shut down. But it in the article itself even ends with like all the stuff about Cavill or the not ends, but gets to the point where they end this part of the conversation talking about like, yeah, Henry Cavill coming back and saying I'm back as Superman. Like, yeah, it doesn't add up. None of this adds up to me, and so I think that there might be sprinklings of truth to this, particularly with Wonder Woman 3 not happening and Black Adam 2 not happening. Everything else just sounds like bullshit.
It's possible. I mean, the only other thing I would say is, maybe, I mean, it's kind of a stretch, but maybe they are scrapping a Man of Steel 2 in lieu of he's going to be in these other movies. Like, that would be the only other thing I could think would be a possibility. You know what I mean? Like, one of us had an idea for a Brave and the Bold movie.
Yeah. And
So,
I'm not, like I said, I'm not, it just, there's too much, there are, like I said, there are inklings of this that sound pretty logical. Too much of it smells like bull crap. And honestly, like if it looks like a turd and smells like a turd,
it's
um,
probably a turd.
and also to go back to what we said at the very beginning, none of this has been officially as like none of this is coming from anyone at DC or Warner Brothers.
Yeah.
This is one publication who has been wrong a lot in the past. I mean, like they have missed the mark a lot. So who in the last few years have gotten so into the scoop business, it's ridiculous. So unless I see a statement from the heads of Warner Brothers or James Gunn himself or Henry Cavill himself, I don't buy it. I don't buy it at all. I really don't. It's we're talking about this right now because everyone's talking about this, and we'd be remiss if we didn't. But
Yeah.
I don't hold any of this with I mean take all this information with a grain of salt and a shot of penicillin, as far as I'm concerned. Hey guys, Mike and Matt here again, cutting in after the story you just heard us talking about, because in the time since we finished recording, some more news broke about it.
Yeah. James Gunn came back and said, that's not true. It is true. Some of it is maybe true. I'm not going to commit to anything, but I'm not going to let this stand as something random somebody's going to start. So, yes.
Because James Gunn knows all too well the fires that a rumor mill can stoke.
Correct.
And what was being because there was already a hashtag fire James Gunn trending, which I think is ridiculous. And so good on him for saying like, nope, we're not playing this game. We're not, no.
Yeah.
No. So I'll go ahead and read. It's not super long. I'll go ahead and read what he tweeted. Quote, so as for the story yesterday in the Hollywood Reporter, some of it is true, some of it is half true, some of it is not true, and some of it we haven't decided yet whether or not it's true. Although this first month at DC has been fruitful, building the next 10 years of story takes time and we're still just beginning. Peter and I chose to helm DC Studios knowing we were coming into fractious environment, both in the stories being told and in the audience itself, and there would be an unavoidable transitional period as we moved into telling a cohesive story across film, TV, animation, and gaming. But in the end, the drawbacks of that transitional period were dwarfed by the creative possibilities and the opportunity to build upon what has worked in DC so far and to help rectify what has not. We know we are not going to make every single person happy every step of the way, but we can promise everything we do is done in the service of the story and in the service of the DC characters we know you cherish and we have cherished our whole lives. As for more answers about about the future of the DCU, I will sadly have to ask you to wait. We are giving these characters and the stories the time and attention they deserve, and we ourselves still have a lot more questions to ask and answer. So what I am getting from this is both kind of what we said initially, which was some of this feels true, some of this feels kind of true, and some of this feels like bullshit. Um, but something I don't think we mentioned, and that I think is actually great to remember that he does mention is, yeah, they've only been there a month. Like,
Yeah.
like this is they're not just gonna start, like they're gonna take some time to figure this out.
Yeah.
They're not just gonna just walk in first day and just say you're fired, you're fired, you're here, you're gonna go down to part time. Like they're gonna like, okay, let's write the story, guys. Let's have the story figured out before we start making. So it could be something to the effect of like, hey, it's not that we're not doing Man of Steel 2. We're just saying, hey, pause on that till we know where we want to put it. You know?
Yeah. Well, because
So,
that whole Cavill coming back and doing that thing, that's before he's even on the job. I don't know
right.
if you've seen, there's this really funny TikTok of like, this is all the things you have to do now that you have the job. And it's just the randomness
Oh,
of
it's
random.
hilarious. Yeah.
Yeah. And totally true. But, pardon me, is I think, I'm trying to think about how to say this. Like, he's getting ahead of it, which they haven't done in the past. And I
No.
think that's very smart because he is one of these guys who interacts with people on Twitter. And I think as much as I kind of like when you sent it to me, I was like, no, he hasn't committed to anything. I don't think we should bother. I
Yeah.
also am like, no, this is the fact that he's even commenting on it is a story unto itself.
Yeah. Because we've commented this on this show before, like DC and Warner Brothers up until recently have always played everything extremely close to the chest to the point where it was kind of detrimental. This is the first time we've had someone in their camp saying, "No, no, 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 no. We're not going to just let this shit stew. Like we're going to let's address this and be done with it."
Yeah. Well, and it's also it does a couple things. Number one, like you're saying, it says, hey, no, he is not saying any of it is true. He's not saying any of it is not true. He's just saying he's seen it, he knows it's out there, and that it's a mixture of everything.
Yeah.
And that really does help all things. It lets the fans know this guy's paying attention. you know I'm sure as he gets deeper and deeper into this gig, he will not be able to respond as often. But it also makes me think about, it's what I said, for us several hours ago, for you listening maybe 2 minutes ago, is his job is to do the creative process of whatever thing they toss at him.
Yeah.
So if they said, yeah, we're going to put everything on hold, he has to somehow make that work
Yeah.
until it's time for him to do other things. So, it, like, I think you're right. It could be like, yes, they put everything on hold. It doesn't mean we're never getting it. It means they have to figure it out. And I will stick to my guns and say, I think it's on hold to see what the next DC film does. And the
Yeah.
next one is it Aquaman or is it Shazam?
Shazam. Shazam's the next one.
So I think what you're going to do, for me, again, moderately rehashing of like, Black Adam did not do what they wanted it to do. That is painfully obvious. And I think now you do have that, like, all right, what happens next?
Yeah.
If Shazam underperforms, now we're in a sinking ship. A sinking ship that has been sinking for some time.
Yeah.
So I think that's what may be like, hey, we're not moving forward on anything new. We already have all these things in the bag. Let's see what the next one does. And if the next one does something cool, then maybe we'll get, oh, yes, no, we're greenlit for Superman sequel. Now,
Yeah.
at the same time, I think you and I both know there's no Wonder Woman 3 or Black Adam 2 ever happening.
I would be shocked. I would be genuinely surprised. Um, because currently on the slate for 2023 for DC so far, we have Shazam Fury of the Gods. We just learned, we talked about earlier in the episode, Blue Beetle in August, and then Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom is set for December 5th. Where the Flash lies in there, I really don't know. Currently, it is currently slated to be released um, in June, but who the hell knows? We still don't have any real confirmation on that.
Yeah.
So, it's probably going to be a situation where we're going to learn more about probably honestly a year from now, like once Aquaman 2 has come out. But yeah, I think that, and I think the thing that we really need to take away from this is what James Gunn said, which is like, we've been here a month. Like we're going to need more than 4 weeks to figure out what we're doing. Um, and language is a tricky thing. What does it mean when they say this thing's not happening? Does it mean not right now? Does it mean not at all? Who's to say? But at this point, I think everybody just needs to calm the hell down. And like you said, I have full faith that anything they decide to do away with, they're not going to do it without giving a careful consideration. That thing that he says in the end, where he talks about making sure that these characters and stories get the time and attention they deserve. I believe that with it coming from James Gunn, he's going to make sure that every choice they make going forward is the smartest one.
Correct. Because the thing I think, again, playing the negative person here, the thing DC can't do is make a mistake. And
Right.
I'm gonna go out on a limb and say forcing Black Panther out when they did, I think it was a mistake. And I
Okay.
think Marvel has now gotten stuck in its momentum train where, instead of now I'm glad that they finally put the brakes on, and said, "Hey, let's figure this Blade thing out and not force a bad situation." But I think the last couple movies, it's pretty obvious, like, we can't stop the momentum train. We have to put Doctor Strange out, Thor out, Black Panther 2 out, all these things. So the fact that I'm not trying to knock it and be very super negative about the recent Marvel stuff. My point more is, if they need to put the brakes on for a year and right that ship correctly, I have no problem with not getting a Man of Steel 2 to 2025 if that Man of Steel 2 is awesome. You know what I mean? It would suck for it to take that long, but I'd rather them take the time, make sure everything's on point and do it right than force a bad situation, which is what has happened to them in the past as well. Wonder Woman 84,
Yeah.
blah. But
And like it's like you said, there wasn't even a date attached to Man of Steel 2.
yeah,
So yeah, guys, it's like it's a transition period. Like there's new bosses, they got to figure stuff out. This is part of the reason why I really didn't want to talk about this story to begin with, is because look, in the time it took us to record talking about it, more developed because we ran with stuff that wasn't confirmed. This is what happens when you run with stuff confirmed, is it slows down the news cycle, because like I had this episode cut and ready to go, and now I gotta edit this little chunk into it to uh, give some context to things, because otherwise it just makes us look like idiots. So
yeah,
all we've done now is congest the news cycle, because we were so quick to jump on a nameless source scoop. That yeah. So learn the lesson, kids, is what I'm saying.
yes. Always be ready to record more to make up for something you jumped the gun
Sure.
on.
Sure. Well, regardless. So, all right, we've talked about this long enough. Let's get back into the rest of the episode so we can end with some good news, talking about something coming out later on in 2023. All right, let's end with some fairly positive news, because I need some positivity right now. Um, so as we know, the Batgirl movie was canceled, but I think it should be worth noting, and I didn't have this on my notes, but it is worth noting, the directors who were attached to do Batgirl have been having meetings with James Gunn. Like that has been confirmed. That James Gunn has been having meetings with the directors of Batgirl to figure out a way to have them still do some stuff with DC. So I think that's pretty cool. Um, but when Batgirl got canceled, the next question was, well, what's next? Is Blue
Yeah.
Beetle, because they were doing this Blue Beetle movie for HBO Max. And they were like, well, if they're canceling stuff that's going to be going straight to streaming, what does that mean for Blue Beetle? Is Blue Beetle next? Well, they did have a move for Blue Beetle next. It's now going to theaters.
Which is fantastic.
Yeah, August 18th of next year. That's a little under a year away.
Yeah.
And the poster's cool. The DC Comics tweeted out the poster. Poster looks awesome. And it says only in theaters 2023. Hashtag Blue Beetle. And yay.
I think that is perfect. I think like pardon me. Uh, DC needs a win.
Yeah.
This could be that win. This could be that random thing that comes out of nowhere and just does it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Because
And
we've seen a couple productions stills of him in the costume, and the costume looks good.
yes, the costume looks cool. Everything about this looks like it's going to be cool. Um, so I think, like, all the Mexican American side of like, hey man, I like a Mexican hero. Like the character's cool, and let's not forget that Iron Man wasn't a household name when that movie came out. Guardians of the Galaxy for shit sure was not a household name in any. It wasn't even a comic book store name. Very few people knew who Guardians of the Galaxy is, and we just got an amazing holiday special with them.
Yeah, we did.
Everything doesn't have to be Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman to be super popular and successful. Dig deep, do something random. You know, let's not forget all of this is because of Blade, a character zero people knew.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So
Well,
you
and
do,
look at how, Marvel launched the MCU with Iron Man. Nobody was reading Iron Man in 2008. Nobody gave a crap who Iron Man was in 2008.
yeah,
And
yeah,
now they were talking about, Robert Downey Jr. getting an Oscar for Endgame. Like DC's got to make, say what you will about the Black Adam movie, but they took a chance on a character that wasn't one of the Trinity. And there's a
correct.
lot of characters in DC. They're gonna have to do that eventually. They're gonna have to break away from the big three eventually. Blue Beetle's a swing for the fences, but in Batman Brave and the Bold, especially, Blue Beetle was like one of the favorite characters. Those are some great episodes. And then also with Young Justice, there was great stuff. Well, say what you will about the show, but the stuff with Blue Beetle was very good. So taking a shot on a movie, yeah, I'm into it.
Oh no, yeah, I definitely feel like that's a no brain. Like I think that could be very cool. It'd be a lot of fun to see, and just man, do it. You know what I mean? Like I don't know how else to say. Like, yeah, let's bring
Do
it.
the
Let's have fun.
thing. Yeah. I'm into it. I want to have fun. I want to have fun. Look, did I like Black Adam? No. Were there parts of it that I had fun? Absolutely. You know?
Yeah.
So and yeah, with Blue Beetle, Jaime is a character that you can have fun with. I like the first Shazam movie a lot because it's fun. And if I can get some more of that kind of fun and still tell a cool superhero story, but with Blue Beetle, like the idea of Zachary Levi's Shazam hanging out with Blue Beetle kind of makes me excited because that would just be fun.
Well, and let's not, I'll be the Debbie Downer right now, and it's like, look, their quote unquote Spider Man esque character, nobody wants to talk about right now because he's
Yeah.
problematic as all get out.
Yeah.
So Blue Beetle would fit perfectly in that kind of, in that role of like the younger character who has the different insight on everything, who can have fun, blah blah yaggity schmaggity. So yeah, I think I think that would be he'd be a good replacement, and then that guy could just disappear as he should.
Yeah, that's fine. We're talking about Ezra Miller, guy. I don't know if that was very clear. We're talking about Ezra Miller, like just yeah. Like I want to make sure that's we're talking about Ezra Miller. Like he can fuck off for all I care. They can fuck off for all I care. I know that's harsh, but like it's not really. But Blue Beetle, yeah, Blue Beetle has me super excited. The fact that they're making the move to put it in theaters also tells me they have a lot of faith in it. Now to play
Yeah.
devil's advocate, they had a lot of faith in Black Adam, but the difference is Black Adam was them trying to be super serious. With DC, when they just have fun, I think they do pretty well. Because like
Yeah.
Aquaman was just fun. Shazam is fun. So yeah, let's have fun.
Bring it. Bring
Bring it.
it.
All right. I think we've covered. I've been looking on Twitter, making sure we're not, because, one time we had some breaking news, the James Gunn thing, we broke that on the show. So no other news has surfaced as of right now. Everyone's still talking about this THR thing. So that's going to
I
do it
think
for
that's
us
perfect.
for this time around. Listen, guys, if you ever have anything else you want us to talk about or something you want to say or want to ask us, whatever it is, we have got a Google form pinned to the top of our Twitter. You can find our Twitter at We Are the Batman. Matt, where else can they find us if they want to talk to us about stuff?
You can go to my old podcast Facebook group, www.facebook.com/group/fanboy junction with a K. And whatever you want to talk about, you want to start a conversation there, you want to toss ideas about what we should be doing on the show, just do it there. And I assure you, I will respond.
We always do. We love hearing from you guys. If you want to talk to us directly, you can find me on Twitter at Mr. Mike Shea.
And you hit me up at Mr. J Ninja.
That's going to do it for us. We'll see you guys again next time for another episode of We Are the Batman. Same bat time, same bat podcast channel.
Take care, guys.